Valentine's Day is a special day for every couple out there. No matter if you're married, engaged, or have been start dating. It is a day to remember to be respectful and kind to your significant other. Though there are in fact some people out there that's, well, suffering from bad experience to even terrifying ones. I had only at least one pretty bad experience myself, and I had to say it is my only experience, and I'm really glad that I never had anything before or since. My name is Mark. This happened when I was about 25 years old, so about a few years ago. I will give you a brief background. 2 years prior to this, I was dating a girl until she broke up with me because she was cheating on me with another guy. I was heartbroken. We dated for about 2 years, and she just dumped me like that. And so for the next 2 years, I was lonely. And during those 2 years, when Valentine's Day came around, I just stayed at home, watch movies, or play games, just by myself. But then, after a while, my best friend Jasper, at the same age, he decided to bring me out in the dating world again. And he introduced me to a girl named Harriet from his work. She was only about a year younger than me. And I was like, I don't know. But he pressured me to at least give her a chance. Or at least gave dating a one more try. I was like, why not? Why not? So I took her out on Valentine's Day for romantic dinner. It was going pretty well. We had a lot of conversations and we did share some common interests in different topics and we clicked for some reason. Even though we weren't actual official dating at that moment, but I potentially could see something between us. So after I took her home, she texted me after I got home, said that she had a good time, and I texted her back saying I also had a good time. She was a pretty funny girl. She seems to be, well, both funny and very relaxed, outgoing person. But then the next morning, not anything bad happened. She had texted me a few text messages, like from good morning, and then she even asked if I want to go out on another date. I was like, I mean, I really had a good time on the first date, so why not? So we went on a second date. It was going well because we actually went to a small diner in town since restaurants might be a little bit expensive, so we decided to use a small diner. But when we were eating, I received a text from Jasper. Harriet somehow started assuming I got a text from another girl because it was just sudden. And she flipped, literally flipped, and demanded to see who was sending the message. I was calm and I told her it was from Jasper, and I even showed that by showing the name was on the top Jasper, and he even asked how my date was going so far, my second date. But then, after a while, she saw there was a few girls' name on my phone, like in my contacts. I said they were my sisters' names. I had two sisters, but she didn't believe me. So she started ranting to proving that they are in fact my sisters. I was like, why do I have to prove they are my sisters? Because we aren't even officially dating at the moment. This is just our second date. But I had enough, so I just stood up, I left, I paid for my meal, and just went home. I did text Jasper when I got home of what happened. He was apologizing for introducing me to her because At work, she was always polite, considerate, never like anything like this. I do understand maybe this might have been something that most people like. You brush it off. You're maybe just she's insecure. That might be, but you haven't had to realize she don't even had to demand to see my phone. I mean, to see every single picture, or that or saying I can't even talk to a girl, even if this were my sisters, and that I literally had to prove they were my sisters, despite I didn't have to. But then, just after I texted Jasper, she blew up my phone after she got home, like texting her, like, "Why did you go? And why did you have to do this? I thought we were dating," or something like that. And she was doing this nonstop, and I had enough. I called her and said like something like on the lines of, "You assumed that I was seeing someone else, and for the record, I don't have to prove they are my sisters or anything else, and you can't demand I can't talk to other girls other from with your permission." She said something like that. So I blocked her, and a few days after, Jasper took me to a bar. We had a few drinks, and he apologized. Then he introduced to a girl named Amber. And you may wonder who she is. I mean, considering that the first girl that he introduced was crazy, Amber, not at all. She was actually his youngest sister by 2 years. She was 23 years old, and I had to say, I actually had a bit of crush on Amber for a while before I dated my ex. So, yeah, that was the time when I met up with my crazy date, and I have no idea why Harriet was even like this. I hadn't even seen or heard from her yet, or still, and hopefully I won't. But from what I heard from Jasper, they still work together, but she never even talks about me, and he has no intention to even to break my name out to her. He did it once, but she said that we were dating, but we had only been on 2 dates. That's it. So to Harriet, please, I really don't want to see you, but if you somehow think that we were still dating or anything, try to reach out to me. Please don't even do that, because by now I'm engaged. And yes, me and Amber got engaged only about a year after we started dating, and we're planning to get married soon. Yeah. So Jasper, thanks buddy for introducing me to your sister. That was a home run. I mean, she is amazing. So to Harriet, please stay away from me. Thank you. Valentine's Day has always been a fun time for me back in high school, especially when some of the boys gave me some candy or even a card, which was very sweet of them. But as I was getting a bit older, eventually I did start dating a guy, but he really had audacity to break up with me the day before Valentine's Day, saying that he had fallen in love with someone else, and turned out to be a female friend of mine. And yes, I don't talk to her ever since that day, and I have no intention to do so. And the second one, well, it is about this particular story. My name is my name is Bella, and I was about 22 years old while this happened. You see, like I said, I have been single for a year since my ex-boyfriend dumped me for another girl, and the day before Valentine's Day, my best friend Jenny decided to introduce me to a guy that she knew from work named Hunter. He was a few years older than me, like 25. She showed me a photo of him, quite handsome guy. According to Hunter, according to Jenny, Hunter was a bit quiet, smart but polite. So she gave me his number and we texted that night. And he took me out on a date to an Italian restaurant in town. And he was all that she told me. He was polite, very handsome. I mean, he was all the 100% genuine. And the well, we did have a good conversation, have a good meal, but halfway through the meal, everything went south quite fast, to be honest. We were talking about the future, what we saw ourselves doing if we got married. Hunter said that he would make his wife stay at home to quit her job since women's job is to be at home at all time and that she was only being allowed to have female friends and only see her family when her husband, which means him, to allow it. And that he wouldn't do anything to help with the kids, only that his wife was sure doing it. Except if they had a son, he will raise and teach his son to treat women to be the same thing. Like how to treat women to be almost like a slave. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't even believe what he was saying. All before all this, he was very polite, he was very smart, handsome, a bit quiet, but mentioning this type of things, yeah, I was really crazy to even believe this handsome guy could have this type of mindset. Very old school, if some people say it, but wow. But then he said that we were destined to be. And he had the crazy idea that right after we leave the restaurant, we should go to a church or a chapel and get married. But I said no. At least I thought I should say it, but I didn't though. So, except for that, I went to the restroom to say that I needed to use the restroom, which he then said no, he had no problem with. So, in there for a few minutes, I texted Jenny to inform her briefly what was going on. She called me and I told her on the call quickly. She immediately took an action. She came to see pick me up since I actually took a cab over there. But before leaving, I paid for my meal and I snacked out from the restaurant. When we were in Jenny's car and we were about halfway to her place, I received a text from Hunter. He asked me if I was okay in the restaurant since I had been there for 10 minutes. Well, I told him back that I couldn't see this as anymore happening. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't see you because you kind of scared me like that. What you said about the women should be, and I'm not gonna marry you whatsoever. And I blocked him when he ranted that we meant to be together. And it was then when I blocked his number. And honestly, if I had knew that he was this crazy and this creepy, I wouldn't have even gone on a date. When we were at Jenny's place, I did ask her if she had any idea that Hunter were like this. She said no, she had no idea. So she then promised me to tell her boss about Hunter since this is very much not non-accepted behavior. I later was informed from Jenny that her boss did in fact fire, but not because of that, because this was not even work related, but it turned out he had been doing this kind of things to other women at work. And on top of that, even some female customers. And it turns out many of the female customers had complained to the manager, and eventually they complained directly to his boss. and I was dumbfounded. But it turns out that this was kept as much as a secret from the rest of the staff. And Jenny, well, she was never kept in a loop on this, but ever since then, if anyone like behave like this to any of the staff or the customers, they will be immediately being informed if anyone or other people doing it. I had even seen or heard from Hunter ever since. Likely though he never even knew where I live. But I think it may be where to stay away from dating for a bit after this. But eventually I will find my true man. Thank you all for listening.